Man, not again. Here we go. Here we go. What's up, world? What's up, everybody? Man, I had to come straight to you this morning, man. Try to get you this information in case you're not up to date on it. And like what was expressed to me the other day, we as a community, as a black community, have to make sure that we have representation as far as our information, and not just depend on the dominant society to provide our information to us. So real quick, let's jump right into it. So we have this morning announced that Karine Jean-Pierre to become the White House press secretary, the first Black and out LGBTQ person in the role. So we're gonna get into the article and do a little research on Karine and who she her significant other and a little bit on her background. But to me, this immediately when I saw this article, saw this come out, it made me revert back and think to what Tariq was talking about a few years ago when you had the movie come out called Us, and it was about these replica people, these tethers, what they call them tethers. These people who lived in like an underground surface, and they would come up and replace the family that looked just like them. And then when you would listen to Tariq and some other people, they talked about how many black immigrants objective is to replace the American descendant of slaves or the foundational black Americans. And if I don't care what nobody says, if you go to many of our neighborhoods where they have many of these African immigrants, not all, but a good chunk, a good sum, a good number of these, black immigrants don't identify themselves as black Americans. Many of them have, slang terms like akatas. Many of them look at black Americans as lazy, degenerates. They don't really see themselves as equivalent. Many of them identify themselves with their cultural affiliation, as if they're Nigerian or if they're Haitian, if they're Ghanaian, if they're Kenyan. They don't say, "Oh, I'm black, I'm black, I'm black." They don't just lump themselves all in one category like they try to do us, right? They try to say, "Oh, well, if you black, if you have dark skin, or if you're a person of color, then you're black." And then you kind of get lost in, okay, well, what cultural identity do you have? Do you say, "Well, I'm a Kenyan"? Am I a black American? Am I Haitian? Whatever the case may be, they don't really make that distinction. They just say, "Oh, you black." So this is how they kind of get us lost and confused. So, anyways, you got Karine out here, and CNN, and it looks like that the Democratic Party, not just the Democrat, because you do have the Republicans pandering with Herschel Walker. They pandering too, because we all know Herschel Walker is not really that competent, but he's trying to run in a competent role, a role made for a competent person. And so, that's pandering too on the Republican side. Where the Democrats are pandering even more and more because, they had the Ketanji Brown Jackson, they had the Kamala Harris, they putting this black girl magic agenda. They're not putting any black men magic, but they putting all these black women in here, which I to a degree don't have any type of qualms with. But when many of these black women seem to have tainted past or tainted perceptions, then it makes you question it. Like from Kamala and her questionable background as far as her sexual escapades, her alleged sexual escapades, by Judge Joe Brown. And you can watch his videos with Kwame Brown talking about that. We got Ketanji Brown Jackson and her skeptical rulings on, especially, most talked about the Lockheed Martin situation. And many of these women are, married to white men. And then we talk about Karine. She's LGBTQ and she is of Haitian descent. So, just like Kamala of Haitian descent, these people don't always necessarily identify themselves as Black American or foundational Black Americans or American descendants of slaves. They consider themselves something different. So in the article, here we go. So it talks about Karine Jean-Pierre will become the new White House press secretary when Jen Psaki departs her role next week. President Joe Biden announced in a statement Thursday becoming the first Black and out LGBTQ person to hold the position. Now, we know that, Joe Biden's numbers are slipping. I think the other day he was at like 36% approval rating. And they want this Black vote. They need this Black vote, but they are not going to give you anything of substance. They're going to give you these no tangible, but these symbolic victories, right? These symbolic victories that we talk about, putting a Black face in a high place to offset not doing anything tangible to help your community, right? So they put this lady of color in this position, like Ketanji, allegedly, and she, of course, has the most education out of all of the judges that are on the Supreme Court. But what took it so long for a person of her, I guess, of her educational statute or criteria to make it to such a high position, right? And also, this lady's LGBTQ. So once again, they're trying to lump Black and LGBTQ together. And just the other day, Dave Chappelle was attacked by a Black and LGBTQ person, right? So we talked about in the last video how many of them in this mainstream society will try to use Black momentum and lump somebody else's movement integrated into the Black momentum and try to use Black people to push their agenda. And once they make it, then they all of a sudden they separate themselves from the Black people once again. So John Pierre currently serves as the White House principal duty press secretary. Karine, in quotes, Karine not only brings the experience, talent, and integrity needed for the difficult job, but she will continue to lead the way in communicating about the work of the Biden and Harris administration on behalf of the American people. Biden said in the statement, adding that Gene Psaki, has set the standard for returning decency, respect, and decorum to the White House briefing room. And so this is what I don't like, is that, of course, with the right wing and the left wing, and if you know a bird has two wings but one head. So you know that the right wing and the left wing, they are opposite wings, but, because one is up, one is going down. But at the end of the day, they have one head. So they are still, doing the opposite things to move towards the same goal. Many of these people still associate with each other on the same golf courses and behind the scenes. So don't get played and let them play you pretending that you got to be on one side or the other. You can be on either side that you want to be on, because at the end of the day, they still working in conjunction to move this bird further ahead towards whatever agenda that they may be pressing towards, right? The ultimate master plan for the United States, all right, which is a whole nother topic, which I believe that many of these guys in the elite class have no allegiance to, because many of them own their own islands. They make their own rules, and in different parts of the world, XYZ. So, but anyway, so all right, so we move down. John Pierre family includes her partner, CNN national correspondent Suzanne Malveaux, and their daughter. I did not know Suzanne Malveaux was LGBTQ, was gay, but I guess she is, and they have an adopted daughter. All right. And if you don't know who Suzanne Malveaux is, we'll go into that in a second. We'll kind of, pull her video up. But anyways, so this is the article brought to you by CNN, and just look for many other situations that kind of reflect pandering by this administration. They can't do anything for you tangible. They can't do anything of substance, for your community, but they definitely can do symbolic victories. And you try to use that to persuade you to vote for them. So, all right. So let's I'm gonna bring up this other article. This just is on Wikipedia, but let's kind of look into her background, right? So here's Karine Jean-Pierre, born 1977, August 13th. She's a French American. All right. So they call her Black, but right there it says in her ethnicity, she's French American, right? So do you think she goes around and just says, I'm a Black person, I'm a Black woman, I'm a Black woman, power to the people? No, she is not doing that, bro. I almost guarantee you. She's a French American political campaign organizer, activist, political commentator, and author. She has been White House principal duty press secretary since 2021. She served as the chief of staff for Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris during the 2020 presidential campaign, becoming the first Black woman and first lesbian to hold that position. She is set to become the 35th White House press secretary on May 13th, blah, 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 following the departure of Jen Psaki, making her the first Black person, just say person of color, because Black person gets a little fuzzy. Black person and the first openly LGBTQ person to be press secretary. Wow. Okay. Why just didn't get a transgender person? The transgender thing is hot right now. I want to see a transgender person up there. Stop pandering and playing with the people, man. Please. But they think that the people don't have no backbones. You're not gonna stand up and stand for truth. You're gonna fight amongst each other. You're gonna have so much division. It's not gonna be any recourse. You're not, and it's sad to say, but much of that is true. Anyways, so let's move on. All right. So Jean Pierre was born in Fort de France, uh, Martinique. I believe that's how you say that, Martinique, and the daughter of Haitian parents. All right. She has two younger siblings alongside whom she was raised in Queen Village neighborhood in New York. All right. So right there it just says she has Haitian parents. She's of Haitian descent. All right. And that's typically what they do, guys. From my perspective, and this is why I say that even though, I don't think that the Foundation of Black American Museum, the Hidden History Museum is coming, but I do think that Tariq, hits on a good point. And this is, tell you all the time, you can get jewels from different people. And I think Tariq drops jewels, but I don't know, I don't know him well enough to know if he's genuine. I don't know, what he's doing is genuine, if it's just using, getting the people's money and then speaking on the real topics and real issues, but not really to get out here and, address some of this stuff, right? But anyways, so she is of Haitian descent, parents are Haitian, and we know that many of them do not associate themselves with, Black American people, Black American descendants of slaves, right? And, Kamala Harris is of Haitian descent, and, they really put that in the forefront and let you know that's how they distinguish themselves. So they bring in these immigrants, put them in a positions where they can give off the perception that they are helping Black people. Well, where are the traditional, family oriented Black people? They're not being put in no positions. They say they're trying to, be inclusive and show representation to all. Well, right now it feels like the traditional Black American people have been forgotten about. Joe Biden, he the president, he has a traditional family. What makes him think that Black people don't want to be represented by a traditional family? What is a traditional family? From my perspective, it's a Black man, a Black woman, Black children who nobody's on no. It's like what you saw with Obama. Just like you saw with President Barack Obama. Now, they're not going to put a person that doesn't have the traditional family inside that White House, inside that number one position. I don't believe, because it shows weakness to the rest of the world. When you look at all these superpower countries, when you start putting these non-traditional situations in the White House, then it shows vulnerability. It shows a perception of weakness, and they know this. And so therefore they don't do it. They do this type of stuff just to pander and get you off your guard. So as we see, she's of Haitian descent, and many of us are wondering, are they continuing to play on people's emotion, and substitute, a tether for a real Black American person, just like the movie Us. Us. If you watch the movie Us, that's what that's the hidden meaning, is that the immigrants or the tethers are replacing the national citizens. And you can look at it like the same thing with a lot of the Hispanics or the Mexicans or the influx of the immigrants coming into the country. Many of them are replacing the traditional white people. Many of them are. And you got the Ukrainians coming in. You got these Afghan refugees coming in. You got these, illegal immigrants coming in from Mexico coming in, and they are replacing the traditional or the foundational immigrants here in America, and also the native people who are already here in the country with this mindset to really erase you. And you can conspiracy theory it all you want to, but I believe that is the ultimate objective. All right, and then the other one we'll show real quick. I don't want to take too much time, but Suzanne Malveaux. All right, this is Suzanne Malveaux, CNN correspondent. And like I said, I did not know that she was gay. When you see her on there, on CNN all the time, you would think that, maybe she has a husband and family, this, that, and the third. And no knock. If that's what you choose to do, then do what you do. But it seems like CNN has a pattern of hiring these LGBTQ people because you got Don Lemonade. He's bisexual or gay or whatever. Then you have Anderson Cooper. He's gay. And then you got Suzanne Malveaux. All right. And it's no telling whom else on CNN, practice the LGBTQ lifestyle. And it makes you wonder, okay, if you call yourself being inclusive and want to represent our people, well, why are we not marketing and putting out the people with the traditional type of family? It's always pandering. So, anyways, it's like when you look at it, it's Suzanne Malveaux. She's, I guess, of Creole descent or whatnot. She's from. I want to say she's from. I think, all right, New Orleans. All right, born in Lansing, Michigan, into a New Orleans-based family with parents both Louisiana Creole origin, their roots in French, Spanish, and African descent. Malveaux has stated that different members of her family identify as white, biracial, and or black, and that she considers herself black. All right, and of course, what? All right, in June 2015, a London gay pride parade included a parody of ISIL flag, replacing Arabic letters with dildos and butt plugs. Malveaux described the presence of what she mistakenly thought was the real ISIS flag at a gay pride parade as unnerving and conducted a 7-minute live interview with CNN terrorism expert in London. And that's some weird stuff. Oh man, see that's just tacky. Malveaux is in a relationship with White House Press Secretary Karine. They lived in Washington with their adopted daughter. See, man, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, do your lifestyle or whatever, but you don't have to put that stuff out there in tacky fashion. I think that's the problem that people have with like we said with Dwayne Wade's son or daughter or whatever, however you want to identify, is that it seems like that the exploitation of the children is really happening at a premature age, and nobody really wants to see 13, 12, 13, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-year olds out here being sexually exploited, and talk about how they want to be boys and girls and they want to switch their sex when they at that age they shouldn't even really be thinking about sex. They shouldn't even be, that should be one of the furthest things from their mind. So this is Suzanne Malveaux, and this is probably the picture that you most familiar with seeing her. But it just, to me, it looks like this picture is pandering. It's if she's LGBTQ, and I wonder if she's the man in the relationship or whatever the case may be, why dress her up looking like a lady? I mean, it's just like, hey, if she the man, the butch, or whatever you want to call it, then dress up like so. Quit playing on people, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people like myself did not know this woman was gay. And not saying that gay women can't dress nice, but I'm pretty sure when you look at her other pictures and how she probably acts, she probably doesn't, act and dress in this type of formality, right? But anyways, man, that's what I want to bring to you today. I hope you guys stay conscious, stay reading. Don't just let somebody pull the wool over your eyes and have you doing things that you think are right only because you have done no research. Man, y'all take care of yourselves and one another. I'm out. Peace.